There's kind of like an interesting, how do you say, succession or continuum of kindness and compassion in all Buddhist vehicles. So in the classic vehicle, Hinayana, you have metta meditation and you have karuna meditation. So meditations of loving kindness and compassion, right? And it's an awesome practice. Changes people's lives. But then in Mahayana, there is not only meditations of loving kindness and compassion, but there is the vow of bodhisattva, and that makes a huge difference in the whole thing. So you're no longer only wishing well and wishing all good things to your friends and family members, relatives, distant relatives, people of your city, country, all countries and all beings, but you take the vow to attain Buddhahood for the sake of all beings. This single thing, in my view, is the deciding factor what is Hinayana, classical vehicle, and what is Mahayana, the great vehicle. We also, when we have refuge ceremonies, our practitioners take that vow formally. So it's a vow, it's an oath. You swear this, and that's a very serious, very meaningful turning point in one's practice. And maybe I kind of just want to put this into context because in Dharma there is the doctrine of reincarnation, rebirths, past lives, future lives. It never ends. So I think that often when, for an individual, us, each one of us in this life, when we start our practice and then we get some experience and we get some insights, then we start understanding what the Dharma is about, and then you start realizing how important it is, that it's really the foundation of everything, including our lives, affects everything in our life. So then you start thinking that, okay, maybe there is something to this bodhisattva thing. And then eventually you take these bodhisattva vows. You're ready to vow, to take such a vow, to make such a vow. But at the same time, in Dharma there is the doctrine of reincarnation, which says that you can listen to 1,000 different lamas say the same thing, that they speak of countless lives we've lived in different forms and countless lives that are still coming. And at present we have this life. And one thing that I wanna it's a bit unusual thing to say, but I wanna people to have right view and right understanding, which is that if anybody practice Dharma seriously in this life, we can be certain that you have been a master and a great practitioner in more than one life before. This is too rarely said. Like, if you are serious about practice, you understand quickly that this is something really important. Maybe you even feel that, I want to dedicate my life to Dharma. In one way or the other, I will dedicate my life to it and try to help and serve others. You can be sure that you have been a great practitioner in past lives. Maybe even a Mahasiddha. So this is too rarely said by lamas, but I know that it's the case. You can't become a devoted, serious practitioner in this life if you don't have causes for that. If you already don't have a very solid foundation from past lives, you won't suddenly become a really devoted and serious practitioner. It just doesn't work like that. So there's that. Sometimes, especially in Tibetan tradition, they have these tulkus, these reincarnations and emanations of past practitioners and past masters. But the way I see it is that if you are a serious practitioner, like all serious practitioners are tulkus of somebody significant in the past. Maybe you don't know who it is, but that is definitely the case. So I was talking about metta and karuna, compassion practices. So in Mahayana, there is the vow. And it's a vow. It's not something that you kind of play with. You swear that in this life and in all future lives that are endless, you vow to liberate all sentient beings. And vow to help all sentient beings. Vow to help anybody who's in samsara. And meaning those who are ready and willing to hear the Dharma. Readiness and willingness, like readiness, I often translate the merit, what is commonly called merit, as readiness. And then willingness, kind of like karmic situation, karmic ripeness. So you need both, karmic ripeness and readiness. Yeah, so that's what we swear. And anybody who's taken refuge in a way that it needs to be taken, you know that it changes your life. It changes your perspective completely, I would say. Then you have a compass. Like in ships and in airplanes, they have compass. So it's kind of like having a compass, existentially, spiritually. And like in everything, in all kinds of journeys, in all kinds of navigation, we need compasses and maps. So, like I said, in Hinayana, there is the general wishing, well-wishing for all beings, which is awesome as it is, but in Mahayana, not only we wish well, but we kind of like weld ourselves together with all beings. Weld. I used to study and do a bit of welding when I came back from Japan, and it's a very fitting analogy, like welding two pieces of metal together, and you can't separate them without heavy machinery. So it's a good analogy. So we weld, and it's not artificial welding. It's realizing that we are in this together already, and that's the welding. We realize that we can take a break from all sentient beings, and this is not criticism. With love, I'm saying this, and with respect. We can take a break of all sentient beings and just focus on our practice. And this is Hinayana realization. But there is no way, there is no getting away of the fact that we are all in this together. Why? How? Because we have subtle body that has each one of us 15 people together, we have about 100,000 nadis. 70,000, 80, 90,000, 100,000 nadis. And they go out from our being. And where do they go? They go to other beings. For example, you and I am your teacher and you are my students. You follow Pemako teachings that are my students. And because of that, you have received empowerment. And depending on your devotion towards myself as the head teacher, there are energetic connections, nadis in between you and me. This is why it took so long for me to finish my purification, because I was carrying a heavy load of my students. But I knew that from the beginning that this is how I wanted to do it, and I did. So not only that you and I have energetic connection, you have such a connection to all your friends, relatives, alive or deceased. You have the same connections to your friends, relatives, teachers, pets, even places from all your thousands of past lives. So imagine what kind of a huge web of connections is created. It's like an endless web of all beings connecting. Myself connecting with, perhaps, I'm just pulling a number out of my hat, maybe with 5,000 beings. The big number is much bigger than that. But anyway, you have your 5,000, and then when you think of, if I think of, let's say my sister, I have a connection to her, and she in turn has 5,000 connections to others. So in this way, we are all in this together. And this is understood by Mahayana yogis. And that's why there is the vow. The vow is there just to kind of operate as an anchor or as a compass. It sets things straight, sets the foundation properly. And like it is often said by Mahayana teachers that, those who commit, those who really take the Bodhisattva vows, there is no way avoiding that eventually you will reach Buddhahood. Because that's how it works. So in Mahayana, there is the meditation of Tonglen, for example, compassion meditation. Compassion can be, you can create all kinds of visualizations how you practice this. When I was a small boy, I would practice this meditation where I would sit on my bedside and then I would start praying for the happiness and peace and welfare of my well-being of my family, then relatives, then the people of my town, people of the town where my cousins and relatives lived nearby, and I would just expand, and finally I would see the whole earth like hanging in space in front of me, and I would wish well for the whole earth and all beings, all life in there. This is one way to do compassion meditation or loving kindness meditation. And in Tonglen, it's just a way to do it, kind of a more personal way to apply the same principle by imagining one person or group or a nation or all sentient beings around you and bring their suffering or welcome their suffering into my heart. In heart it is transformed automatically because heart has the power to do that, and then give happiness, peace, love in return. Tonglen, receiving, giving, receiving pain, giving love, receiving suffering, giving peace. This is Tonglen. And I started speaking about this with the thigh bone trumpet. So finally we get to Chöd, which is Tantric Tonglen, considered to have been founded by Machi Ladron. And so in Tantric Tonglen, in Chöd, this is kind of made a little, quite a bit more serious, a lot more scary, and what is that word? Like let's say much more graphic. So first you meditate, you relax your body, and then you meditate yourself as the guru. You do guru yoga, and then you meditate. You might go directly from guru yoga to inviting other beings, but you might also do first guru yoga and then taking one of the forms of the guru. Let's say, for example, in Pemako's case, first you might practice yourself as Guru Rinpoche, then you might transform yourself into Dorje Drello, and then invite beings to eat you and to drink your blood. And these beings are demons, hungry ghosts, the darkest beings. Of course you can invite, beings of light as well, gods and so on. But Chöd is, like I said, it's kind of graphic. So this is what is done in Chöd. So you invite all these dark beings and scary beings. And this is the reason why in Tibet, for example, when people think that there is a ghost scaring people off, or a demon or something, they invite a Chöd practitioner to come and pacify the situation or pacify the spirit. So one of the things traditionally done in Chöd is that they use trumpets made of thigh bone, of a human thigh bone. They blow it very strongly. And the reason why they do that, why they use a thigh bone, is that it's made of a real thigh bone, just like the one you have in your leg. So the reason behind that technology is that, just like tantrics use skull cups made of this part here. So the reason why bones, thigh bones, are used is because we also practice, about everything from bhumis and the chakras we use in our rainbow body yoga, chakras in arms, hands, thighs, legs, feet. So it is area of the subconscious mind. You can kind of say that, looking from the perspective of subconscious, your limbs are in subconscious mind. Subconscious is area of darkness. That's where the demons and monsters and ghosts are. So when you take a thigh bone and use it to invite all these dark beings, it is kind of like that material, that thigh bone, connected already to those dark realms, is a perfect way to invite, because it resonates in a way that demons and ghosts can. here. So I don't mean to be critical, but nowadays, for example, Westerners, of course you can't get thigh bones in the West. But it doesn't really make sense to Western church practitioners, they replace their thigh bones with wooden. It's the same shape, like the thigh bone shape, but it's a wooden stick that they use. But it's beside the point because of this principle that is the underlying principle. I managed to find, it's in the other room, 2 years ago, I found somebody who made me a mala, neck mala, of bits of skull, parts of skull of men and women. It's a tradition in Himalayan area that sometimes people want to donate when they pass away. They want to donate their bodies, skulls, thigh bones, to Dharma because they think that it's beneficial, and of course it is. So I also have a skull bone mala. So yeah, if we think of that continuum from Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana, compassion, loving kindness in each of them, there's kind of like again, no offense, but it's kind of like Hinayana is lightweight. Then there's Mahayana, much more serious, middleweight. And then there's Vajrayana, which is heavyweight. Even the basic thoughts of that church practice that I was saying, that, in church practice you might visualize that you're sitting there, but then you take a dagger and you visualize that you cut your own throat so that blood is pouring out. You cut your veins like this so that blood is pouring out. And you offer your blood as nourishment for these blood-hungry beings. You might cut here, pull your heart out and give it to a demon to eat. Why? What happens when a Dharma practitioner offers one body, blood and heart like this? Imagine, that's the thing, imagine if it was the heart of Guru Rinpoche and he gave his own heart to some real demon, a real monster to eat. That demon, like all demons in human forms, all people who hurt others, they have never met kindness. Nobody has ever been kind, polite and loving towards them. And that's why they are crazy, bonkers. But then you have church practitioners, Guru Rinpoches, people, bodhisattvas like we, who do this. Okay, eat my heart. You're hungry, eat my heart. Drink my blood, if that is what satisfies you. And in a moment when that demon bites his fangs to that bloody heart, maybe still beating, that demon will transform. No longer a demon. The original love and light starts to seep through. How about that? So that's how tantrics get the job done. One of the ways, and like I was talking before, talking about bodhicitta and compassion, I was talking about introducing all these ritual things in Pemako practice. I will think about it, but it's a very attractive, inviting idea. Many in our Sangha have visions, like visions of deities, visions of Vajrayana symbols, myself included. And this is also something to take into consideration, that we are connecting perfectly, without perfectly naturally to let's say the Vajrayana imagery, which is Buddha nature, Buddha mind. So why not make it physical also? All right. So let's take a 10-minute break. I have something I have to take care of, so let's continue at point 55.